Hi, I'm Suneera and I'm a mom of two, a daughter of an immigrant, and an unlikely entrepreneur who went from scaling an idea to $1 billion business. Yes, $1 billion business. Along the way, I learned that less than 2% of female founders ever hit 1 million in revenue, and I became obsessed on a mission to change that. I believe that there is so much gatekeeping in business knowledge, and that we as female entrepreneurs should be learning from other female founders and leaders who have broken the statistics. Since I never went to CEO school, I've had to learn it all the hard way, but you shouldn't have to, because we believe that you deserve to have it all. And honestly, nothing bad happens when women make more money. Grab a seat because class is officially in session. Welcome to CEO School. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the CEO School podcast. I'm your host, Suneera, and we are live again from another set. You know I love bringing you guys along now everywhere I go. And today I am in New York City at the Female Founder Day with the Female Founder Collective. And as always, I've got the most epic, most amazing friends that are always the best speakers and that I get to put up shop and then invite them into the studio. And so today I have someone that you are familiar with. Not only has she been on the show before and we've gotten to hear her story, but she also is somebody that is definitely inside of your refrigerator today. And if she's not, then you're definitely going to grab some Poppi Soda. I am with Allison Ellsworth, the founder of Poppi Soda. Allison, welcome back to the CEO School podcast.
So I'm obsessed because this time we get to do this in person.
Yes.
So it's going to be even better.
It always is so much better energy. I feel like the podcast this last year has really leveled up. And the way that we're doing this just works. I'm all about work-life integration.
Totally.
And this just really fits into how I'm doing it. I used to go into the studio and I used to batch episodes, which was also, I'm super productive. I'm sure we're going to talk all things mom life and how you do all this stuff. But I love just being in person. We get to have friend-to-friend conversations and it shows up so much more amazing for all of you. And so let's get the update.
Yes.
Allison, I was dying over the Super Bowl commercial. Tell me about it.
Bomb drop. Start off with the Super Bowl commercial.
Yes, let's just go straight into it.
I love it.
Yes.
Okay, so spoiler alert, this is not new news, but not a lot of people know this. We ended up buying that Super Bowl ad only 4 days before the Super Bowl.
What?
Isn't that wild?
How?
So we had been planning to do a Super Bowl for the entire year.
Okay.
We'd been wanting to do it, but because of the writer strikes, everything sold out so early this year. So we were like, okay, there's this thing called Remnant that you can kind of get it. Someone like a General Mills might buy 3 for their brands and then they'll only use 2 and then last minute they release them and then you can pick them up on the market.
Okay.
And so we were just hoping that would happen.
And you just do it through an ad buyer.
Yeah, like a big group or an agency 100%. And so we made the creative, we had the plan and just in hopes, and we finally got our hands on one 4 days before the Super Bowl. It was wild. No, we did not get a discount. And it was what was called a floater pod. So within that, we had no idea what time it was going to air.
Oh my goodness.
It ended up airing 1 minute before halftime. And Usher, holler, Usher, we love some Usher. It was the most viewed Super Bowl ad with 29.1 million viewers in the Super Bowl.
I am obsessed.
It was so good.
As Usher would say, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I'm so happy for you. I was so excited to see it for so many different reasons. I mean, it is incredible. And I don't even, so you had the whole commercial fully filmed.
Yeah.
In hopes that it would happen.
It was very interesting because I think if we would have locked in the commercial, the 6 months prior when we were trying to buy it, creative, I think would have been a little different, right? We maybe would have put a celebrity in it like a lot of other Super Bowl ads. But since we were I don't know if we're going to get one, we made it more evergreen. We told the future of soda and how the future of soda is now, and it's called Poppi. And I honestly think it broke through because it wasn't like any of the others. So it's almost like everything kind of was just meant to be.
I love it. So you've literally had in your own way manifested that this was going to happen. You went in for creating the creative and you're like, okay, if it doesn't work out, we're going to use this campaign for
creative.
We're going to do it anyway. 4 days before it actually ends up happening. And there you are at the Super Bowl watching your own commercial of your baby come to full circle and full life. I mean, this has been such a journey. I've been following your journey for so long since, and let's like recap it because there might be some listeners here that might not know the Poppi story. So I'd love for you to share, kind of take me back before Shark Tank.
Yeah. So started in my kitchen, had some health problems, nothing super like serious, but is what I realized is drinking apple cider vinegar could kind of reset and detox your body. I liked the way it made me feel, but I didn't like the taste. So, whole things, Poppi does have apple cider vinegar in it, but you can't taste it. And so I went to my kitchen, I created Poppi, and then I launched it, and we got to the point where we needed funding. So we did the American Dream thing, and we went on Shark Tank and got a deal. But really, we launched Poppi. We went through a rebrand. We launched it March of 2020, right when COVID hit. But it was really exciting time because how often does everyone think about their health and wellness?
Yeah.
But COVID,
definitely.
We were shelf stable, so people were pantry loading. We were fun when people needed something fun, right? And then we were forced really to be digital first from day one. Hence, like our huge following. I have over 2 billion views on TikTok, and our growth is like insane with our community. But it was like all of these things to kind of get us to now where Poppi is the number one soda on Amazon.
Number one on Amazon.
Also, all the big boys.
Number one soda. Which that isn't, you're a completely different cat. You are literally disrupting big box. Like you are literally disrupting the Cokes of the world, the Pepsis of the world, the sodas that we grew up with. This is you're like really disrupting the category. And now you are number one on Amazon.
It's crazy.
How does that feel?
It's fun because like I think a lot of people throw stats out there, but we've been that for a year and a half. Wow. It's like been unwavering. We're the number 4 really beverage on the platform. For a hot second. Yeah, like a lot of people love to like
2 a.m.
the last 4 weeks of data, but it's been crazy. So it's one of those things where it's like it's almost more mind-blowing that it's been that long versus like the first moment it's happened. But with how busy I am, I'm sure you get this. Like it's hard to just stop and be like, holy crap, that's really amazing. Because I'm like, okay, now what? What's next? You know what I mean? And it's a problem I have, but I think all entrepreneurs have it.
We do. What has been, you've done all the things, and this show is definitely all about showing women that you can, from your kitchen, right? Like create a product and scale it beyond your wildest dreams. I know how special that feels, and you have a product that's like literally in everyone's home.
It's crazy.
That is crazy.
Our growth is crazy.
That is something to me, like I haven't gotten to do that. And that's what I'm really excited about building Worth for, because I do feel like I want to have a product that really like changes the way one business is done. And this is my category is never going to be consumer, but in my own way, like Worth Score is my business consumer product. And I just want to have it in the hands of everyone. And how does that feel to like know that someone right now is like drinking your soda, like in, Kentucky somewhere?
Well, is what's even more fun is like our mission is revolutionizing soda for the next generation. Mm-hmm. And the majority of people, like we're at this female founder collective summit and everyone's coming up to me being like, my daughter told me about Poppi, which shows that we are touching the next generation of soda drinkers and breaking through. And so for me, that's more powerful and special to know that like my kids are going to be raised on Poppi, and that's what's going to be at their parties and their kids and their friends. And it's this whole thing of like, we're almost like in complement to big soda, right? It's like we are the next generation of people that are wanting this better for you. So to me, it's like really cool, just like as a mom myself, knowing that. And then like we have such a big following within the Gen Z community that it just really crazy.
Is. I have so many fun questions to tell you, like to follow up with here. But I think I told you this. I don't know if you remember, but you know how I learned about Poppi?
How?
Was from my 4-year-old daughter.
No.
Okay, so I'll tell you exactly how. So she obviously doesn't go like shopping on her own. We went to Costco on a Saturday, which is like the dumbest idea in the world.
I know it's so busy, but we all do it.
So we went to Costco on a Saturday. Faisal and I, we took the girls and we had this like big Costco trip, and they were having, like they do the little corners where you try new products.
Oh yeah, same.
And so Costco had like the little, the little paper cups of Poppi, and the girls were running off and like trying different things. And they come back and they're like, we just tasted the most amazing soda. And so Mila comes back, and Anna never likes anything and she's super picky. And she was like, I loved it. And so she loved like the orange one, and Mila had another one. So they came back, and they like literally dragged me to go see what this what this thing was. And I was like, no, we're not going to buy any soda. So like I went in with that mindset of like, okay, just whatever they're trying stuff.
39 grams of sugar is a no-go.
Yes, I was like, yeah. And I was like, oh, like soda's not good for us. I'm like walking back, and then I literally was there, and the first thing I remember was like the prebiotic or the probiotic on the thing, and I'm like, wait, oh my God, mom, win over here. And so I picked up all of the flavors and put them in our cart. And that was my first introduction to Poppi, was because my daughter's pulled me into Costco.
Has been told to me. So it's crazy because it's almost like, Poppi's only 4 grams of sugar, and our packaging doesn't scream healthy, but that was intentional.
No,
we wanted it to be like, this is a soda.
You attracted the kids.
But exactly.
Yeah.
And they don't know. So moms, get Poppi. They don't know it's good for them, and they will love it. It's definitely a hack. I love that.
It's so good. Okay, so lots of success, and that's an important part of the show. But I want to ask you some tough questions. Okay, so we're going to have a real heart-to-heart. And I get to do this with Allison because she's a good friend. And, I do want to ask you, tell me a time where it almost like didn't work.
Like Poppi, or like within my career at Poppi?
Ooh, your pick.
I know. So I think like as entrepreneurs, we tend to want to do everything ourselves. We have big egos. We think we know best. And it's almost like it's that fight mentality that you have of like, fine, if you're not going to do it, I'll do it, and I'll do it better. So I got schooled last year a little bit and learning just a little bit more about how to work with a bigger team. Like Poppi's growing so fast. We were 2 employees in March of 2020. Now we have like 130 or 140 in 4 years. But during that time, we were growing so quick that we decided collectively as a board to bring in a CEO. Wow, how are you going to hand your baby over to this person that you don't know? But what I loved about the whole situation on the upside is me and the other founder, Steven, we wanted to be part of the decision. So we were openly talking about it, even though it was really hard. And at first, it didn't necessarily work well, but it was more on my side because I was like, you're not going to tell me what to do. You don't get it. You don't get it type of situation where it took us almost about a year to build the relationship to where we're an amazing team now. We know each other's strengths, but it was a hard year. So almost like we were like, did we make a mistake? And not with him, but it was just me. I was like, do I need to leave to have Poppi be successful? He's been so like great along the way and like dealing, like founders are crazy.
That's why we're visionaries.
We're chaotic.
Yes, but it's good. We're important too.
We are, but it was fun because he's learned to really let me shine and what I'm good at. And I just appreciate so much about what he's good at, but it took us like a year to get there.
Yeah.
And so I think as a founder, always just like, don't go there first, but it almost didn't work. And then now I'm so happy we are where we are.
I can totally relate to this. This is a huge part of my journey of also letting go. And it is hard because you said Poppi was your baby. And recently I had somebody, and I literally used to say the same thing about Stacks. Like Stacks was my first baby, and then I had my other 2.
Yeah.
Like, that was my first child.
I say that all the time.
And then I had my others, right? But somebody said like, you can't treat your business like a baby. And I was like, wait, what? But if you treat your business like a baby, you would never like exit your baby, or you would never sell your baby. And I was like, oh my God, you are so right. Wow. So like you treat it like something you love, like a plant that you like grow or like, nurture and all of the things, and you love it and you take care of it. But when it's time, like it's okay, you can sell the plant and you'd never sell your baby. And I thought that was like a really interesting perspective because I think also as women, we're so attached to our work is our worth.
Yes.
And we put our identity with it. I know I'm taking everyone along with me on this like crazy journey of mine of letting go of my past. And I'm like, how do I define myself outside of founder of Stacks? And one of the things that like my biggest advice, and I was giving it earlier today on stage where I was like, it is important for every woman to have her own personal identity too. So like Allison has her own profile outside of just Pop, and you are such an asset to Poppi.
And I'm not always in pink, I promise. But when I'm Poppi, I am.
When you're Poppi, you are, and you have that persona.
Totally.
Right. And you can step into it. And it's so important for the brand to recognize that. And that's exactly why, you know, when you show up on social media, the numbers hit differently. And so it is important to be able to do that, but it is also important to recognize your own story within that. And make sure that you don't forget that, because it took me a really long. I figured it out too late, and so this time around. So
next time, you can do it over. Though,
I can do it
and
over
go bigger and better. And then, you know, just to add to that, it's like that ability to work as a team. It's so much nicer. Like once you do it, and where all the pressure's not on you and to like have to do it all by yourself. Like it feels so good once you're like really working as a team, because then it's like it's way more fun at the end of the day.
No, it is, and
you won't kill yourself too, you know.
It's also nice, like Sal always says, like my co-founder, he's like, it's the one person that like no matter how shitty it is, it's shitty for you too. And if
so
it's
true.
Great, it's so true, right? And if it's
the
really,
highs
really great,
and the lows,
and it's just as great for you. But people are there when it's great for you. When it's going shitty, like who's there for you when it's shitty? So we're always going to be with each other, because it's just as shitty for him as it's shitty for me. So, you know, that's entrepreneurship, right? That's the whole point of it. Going back to, I really appreciate you sharing that, by the way. Thank you for being so honest with us. I do want to ask you about just being a woman in this space, right? Like can you spill some cheese? Like you've literally now neck to neck with all the boys. Like this is like, do you feel like, what do you feel about like how the market's responded? Can you share some stories with us? Like, I still believe no matter how much success we have as women, we're still like somehow like we're always judged in every room.
Yeah, I would agree 100% with that. But I think I feel the energy, like this is our time. I mean, you just see it here today with all these other amazing female founders. I think in CPG particularly, there's a lot more female founders that are starting and they're getting that confidence. And I love that I can be that inspiration, and it's really powerful. Like I actually can't think of a single other female really in CPG that I like look up to, right? It's like a bunch of men.
It is.
Which is fine, but it's our time.
It's our time.
It is our time.
It's so important that like you do succeed, right? Like it's important that all of you succeed, right? We have to pave the way, because we need more women we need more people to look up to. And
supportive women.
Yes. But that's why I love rooms like this, right? Like this is what you have to get out of the screens and into these rooms.
Community is everything. Everything. The connections that you make, but then you have to also be willing going into those, like open and willing to help, but also to receive. So like we go to these things and like both of us have a line for people to talk to us and going back and forth. But like even you a second ago, you were like, how can I help you? But like, it's like, oh, I'm not usually asked that question. You know what I mean? So it's nice to like also just have other people to network with. And then I think, look, most of the time I'm in a room with a bunch of men. At most time I speak, it's with a bunch of men. And it's what has finally hit me this year is that I do belong, and that I can represent, and then I can be on that stage and in that boardroom and all of those things. And it's like, I no longer am going to be like, oh, like I'm the only female. It's like, hell yeah, I am, you know? And it's like flipping the script a little bit, even though to your point, you're going to get judged. But I have like this weird ability to like let that stuff roll off the back of my shoulders and then like have a glass of wine.
You know what? I fully understand exactly what that is. Like when I'm in the spaces, it does not faze me. I'm like, great, roll the eyes, or I'll hear a comment or whatever it is. And I can tell, like, you know, even because I have a male co-founder and you have a male co-founder too.
Yeah, my husband. Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like the questions that they ask Sal are so different that they ask me, or I'm always like put into the marketing like category. Like I do a lot more than just marketing, right? But there are those things, and I can totally roll with the punches, and then but when I get home, then I'm like, I'll rewind it back, and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, have that glass of wine and let it go, because it's not worth it sometimes. Like sometimes it's worth it to like correct in the moments, but
It's not worth it because like, yeah, you'll just be seen as a bitch.
So something that I know a lot of the women want to know from you, you are so incredible at social media, and TikTok was a huge part of the growth for Poppi. Is there a formula for being viral?
So I think that if I knew what that was, I'd be a billionaire. And I would be bottling and selling it left and right. I think what it is I speak on this quite a bit and work with TikTok really closely, but I think what it is, it comes down to the person, the individual, the willingness to get in front of the camera, talk about it. And then I think the key, if I had to pick one thing, is trying to be as authentic as possible. People, like, they see through like the influencers where they're always on with their hair that's perfect and the makeup. Like, sure, yeah, I will do stuff today and I look amazing in my sparkly pink suit. Amazing. But I also, my most viral stuff was me on a Friday night in my PJs with no makeup on.
Yeah.
And I think if people can just like maybe take it, like, it's almost better the less you try, the better.
The less you try,
post, don't overthink it. No one really cares that much.
Yes.
Just post. You're going to start with 200 views, but then you can get 2 billion like me and live on the platform. Understand it. Study it. Like, you have to know. Don't also rely on like the young intern on your team or whatever to do it. Like,
that's good advice.
You need to know yourself if you truly want to be a digital first social brand.
I love that. So are you in charge of all of that?
Yeah.
How much time do you actually spend?
We have a great social team. We have a great influencer team, but social is just like still such a huge piece of like my DNA of what I brought, I think, to Poppi. So like I still am making 50 TikToks a week or like a month or sometimes a week, honestly. Most of like, if we go to a big event, like coming up with the ideas, I would say it's like 50-50, the team and me. So like I get my coffee in the morning, I scroll on TikTok and I study it. I save. I'm looking for trending sounds. Like, I'm not leaving it up to the team, but I also want them to do it because they're going to get a whole other side of what's cool.
Yes.
And it's almost like the combination is the secret sauce for
like
us at Poppi.
It's part of the day-to-day. Like, it doesn't
it's our
just
DNA.
Happen. It's part of the day-to-day. This is like part
priority
of your work life every day that you're like, I'm spending time on curating content and creating content. And I love the advice that you gave on like, don't just rely on the intern. I think it's so easy for us to want to delegate it off. I find myself in that category so often. But when I post content, you can tell a difference when I post it when my team posts it. And the engagement is different and the connection is different. But it takes time and you have to just devote the time to do it.
Block the schedule. My team helps with it. I do stuff by myself sometimes, but you just got to your point, get up 30 minutes earlier, 3 times a week and make content.
So we're making content. I love that. Now, we talked about schedules. You have 3 kids. So I like love to share this part with our audience. So many of our women are wives and mothers and have lives and have partners and are dog moms. So shout out to all the dog moms out there, but life is full. Yeah. How are you're always on the go. How do you keep work-life integration or balance, or what do you call it? And how are you making life happen too?
So I think my husband being the founder with me, like we're going towards the same goal together. So when I'm on the road, he really does sacrifice to be home and be like the dad at home and that reversal of that role. So he takes the kids to school in the morning. He puts them to bed. I'm constantly on the road because it's like this time that Poppi and this growth, it's not forever. Yes, my little ones are little. I have a 2, 5, and 7. But like I'm there. There's FaceTime. I'm here for literally 40 hours so I could be there tonight to like kiss him goodnight. It's a lot harder on me. I'm exhausted all the time, but I'm also so invigorated by like our growth at Poppi that I don't know. I just do it. Like I just do it. Like
totally relate.
I just do it.
I totally relate to everything you say. I'm on the road every week, but I'm literally gone for less than 48 hours of my life. And I will come home. I will make sure I'm there before they get to bed or after school. I will make sure that I'm there. Even when I leave for my flight, I'll drop them to school and then I'll go. So I'll like literally find the exact way to be everywhere. And that I think is just like magic of mom. That is just somehow also like, I do believe that like there is this like, you know, when the universe wants you to win, also it all kind of like just happens. Totally. And it's important. I don't say yes to everything. So it's also about saying yes to the right. I have started
saying no to things.
Yes, you have to say yes to the right things. Yeah. And having a partner is important. So I also feel, or is part of one of the things that I will say that has helped me in doing this all is I have an incredible partner. We're not in the same business, but He's also an entrepreneur, but when I am gone, like he is there as like super dad. Like he has to really step it up. And when he is gone, I am there. There's like never a time where both of us overlap that where both of us are gone. And if that's the case, then my mom literally lives across the street. So I literally have all of the support. And for those women that, and sometimes I feel guilty about sharing that too. So I'll be honest. I feel guilty because I know not every woman has that partner that can do that or has like parents that are close by. But you know, it does take a village. And I think that's the message that I really want to come across. And you do have friends. Like I think as women, we try to take it all on that we have to do it all ourselves. When you do have amazing friends that would be there, ask for help, you know, and get the help. And it is important to find, like, I know so many mothers were like, I would never have a nanny, or I would never, and I respect all kinds of parenting, but I've always had, even with my family, we've had it at the, even before, like when my company was called Fat Merchant, like even before I was like taking home, like my paycheck was like $60,000. And I still, like, the little help that I could get, like we still had an outside like nanny that would come in, because it was the few things that were, like off my plate, from laundry to whatever else that could come off, so that I could be fully present with my kids. And when I'm there, I'm like fully with my kids.
But you know what? Like when I first started Poppi, we quit our jobs. Steven got a second job as like a waiter at night. And then he was doing some like GIS mapping with some stuff on the side on the weekends to pay the mortgage and the bill. And we were having kids during this. And so like if he was having to do that, but we needed delivery, I strapped the baby to me and I made that delivery. So I think people are also a lot more forgiving in the business world now. Like I breastfeed on Zooms. I took a Zoom call from the delivery room. Like so many times my kids are popping in and like on it. And I'm like, my mom had to leave. My mom helps with our kids as well. And it's like, she had to leave at 3 for a doctor's appointment, but I have 2 more hours. The kids are screaming in the background.
Yes.
Like people are a little bit more forgiving nowadays
we call
as
that
well.
Shit hour, by the way, in our house. 3 to 5, like as soon as they're home from school. And I work from home 3 days a week. 3 to 5 is the craziest.
But like, let's normalize that that's okay.
Yeah.
And that you can still have meetings with screaming children. I've been on meetings while cooking dinner by myself with the kids at home. Like you just do it as a mom, and it's okay. If you don't have that support system, doesn't mean you can't also start your career. You just are gonna be more tired.
You're gonna be more tired. And I agree with exactly that sentiment you said of like, the only person that actually strains is me. Like everybody else doesn't feel that. Like my family never, I'm sure that they miss me or whatever, but I'm like back, like I'm there. And the person that's
good night's
tired,
sleep does a lot.
Yeah. The person that's tired is me. Like that's the most. And then everything else, like in my career, also another like lesson for me was I used to then eat last in that way. Like I never had the time to take care of, like, cause I was always like my business and then my family, right? Like that was it. So I never made time for my health. I never made time for myself. I don't remember the last time I had a girls' night. Like I don't remember the last time I took time for me. And that is something I'm trying to really change about my mindset this time going in. And so on Sundays when we plan our week, like this last year post exit, which I did get some time back, and I was like, I'm not, and your calendar gets full immediately. Even
really?
Yes.
I was like, I'm going to be so bored if that ever happens.
No, I dropped a 50-hour-a-week job February of last year, and immediately my calendar is like full with other there's always a busy person's always busy.
Well, and when you have success and you're a female and you have to get out and tell your story to be an inspiration, like
it's a lot of work, it's a lot of time, all the things, but your calendar gets filled up. And I saw that happening again, and I'm like, okay, no, I have to make the time for me. For you. And so I've really gotten good, and I'm not perfect at it, but I've gotten really good about just prioritizing, putting in my workouts like within the hours at work. So I'm not waking up anymore at like 5 a.m. to make it happen or whatever else.
Like it's okay to do a lunch workout.
It's okay to do it. It's okay to do, I literally do the 8:30 class as much as I can, like, cause I drop the kids to school, do the 8:30 class. And
you deserve that though. You earned that.
I earned it, but it's still so hard. Like people like the whole, even right now launching another company, everyone's like on at 9, but it's like, no, I can be on at 10. Like that's okay. There's 3 days a week that I do this. That is when my calendar starts. And just incorporating it in there and not like feeling shame.
So you're saying don't be so hard on yourself and just self-care.
Self-care. You need to do it. And it's hard. It's super hard. And I love this conversation so much. What is like, okay, so momhood, you're doing all the things, you're tired, take care of yourself, prioritize your sleep. You can't do all the things. I think
sleep, like a good night's sleep changes my world.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. And then you say no to like all the stuff that doesn't matter. I have some fun. Like, I want to ask you, so in scale, a lot of the women are bootstrapping their businesses. Like, what is something like now you look back at and you're like, shit, we like really wasted our money on this thing?
Oh my gosh. So when we first started, we opened our own manufacturing facility.
Okay.
And we bought all this equipment and we thought we had to do it ourselves. You cannot scale a beverage company yourself. Like, you just cannot do it. I get like there's that, like maybe a lot of people, you might have to use a commercial kitchen if you're starting something, like totally do that. But do not invest money in equipment to build out your own manufacturing, because would you rather be putting caps on bottles or building your brand and talking about it and letting someone else worry about it? That's literally what they do for a living. So I think that was like a waste of money, but it wasn't a waste of a lesson, because it gave us a really intimate understanding of how our product is made. You know, I made it in my kitchen, we manufacture ourselves. And so now at scale, my husband runs like our entire supply chain. He knows how it's made. He knows, you know, more than anyone, right? So I always look at things of like, yeah, it was a waste of money, but the lesson we learned was really amazing. And so like there's a few things like that, but I think that looking back, almost wouldn't change anything because of our success and what we're seeing now. And I'd be like too scared to change anything.
That's always my answer too. It's like, I wouldn't go back and change it, but there's lots of lessons, right? Lots of lessons. I think everything happens, you have to learn these lessons. And as a first-time entrepreneur, like, I feel like you're pretty much like, it feels like that the whole way, by the way. Like, even right now, even where you are in business at this level of success, like, you still stumble because there's going to be the thing that you didn't know. Like, there are so many surprises constantly.
When we went to Shark Tank, Bethany Frankel literally screamed at me, "Get out of the kitchen! Get out of the kitchen! What are you doing?" She was like screaming at us on national TV.
Oh my goodness.
We were like, "We're trying, leave us alone." But yeah, it's just like one of those things, to your point, lessons learned. I wouldn't change a thing.
What's next? So we're here. There's so much momentum. We're super excited, always supporting like the most amazing female brands, and you are at the top. I'm super excited to have you as part of our Millionaire Founders Club at CEO School. You're so amazing. What is next for Poppi?
Poppi is basically in every major retailer in the nation,
Yes.
right? So you can find us everywhere. So it's a lot of people might be like, "Oh, we're launching in this retailer." So for us, it's now growth with new flavors. We just launched 7-Eleven 16-ounce tall boy cans.
Ooh.
So we just launched our wild berry. We're launching our lemon lime flavor, which I think is the first time I'm saying this, live literally next week.
Amazing.
And I think for us, it's just focusing on brand awareness and trial. I'm a really big believer in like, we have what's working. Like, don't start going and doing weird stuff like starting new lines or adding weird ingredients. Like, everyone's always like, "Are you going to do a CBD line?" I'm like, "No, I don't want to deal with the federal regulation." "Do you want to do alcohol?" I'm like, "No, I don't want to deal with the federal regulation." So for us, it's new flavors, focus on our current retailers. And then I think that we have a lot of runway in convenience store and then food service. So we're on a lot of like campuses like Netflix and Google, and you know, Poppi with food is just everything. Like, that's just soda. So we're going to continue, I think, see a lot of growth there.
Amazing. And I love the advice of just like focus on what works. Like, we're always like, I feel like entrepreneurs sometimes are so distracted.
Yeah.
Like,
what's next? Yeah.
Yeah. Just focus. Like, there's no such thing. I always say, as $1 billion idea, just $1 billion execution. Like, you do what you do it really well. You can diversify your revenue through other ways, through like exactly expanding through flavors, whatever else it is, but be so good in your category.
Know your brand.
That is how you become an expert.
Don't go crazy.
Know your brand. Allison, for like my final question of the day, we could chat forever. What is one piece of advice that you would give to younger Allison? So day one CEO, what would you go back and what would you want her to know?
Oh, that you not understanding a P&L is okay. I do now. I've had to learn, believe me, but I think it was like an embarrassing thing back in the day of like, why would I have ever been expected, one, to do it? But I think as entrepreneurs and when you're starting a business, you feel like, oh, now I need to be like a finance guru. Like, no. We have a CFO. Steven's amazing, the other co-founder at it. And it's okay that I'm not. And so I was really self-conscious of that early on. Now I do understand it and I've learned over the years. And I wouldn't say like, even if you're embarrassed, like learn.
Yes.
Learn how to do it. I learned how to do Pinot. I made Steven sit down and do courses and teach me. And I know now, and I, margins and net profit, all of that. But I will say that was like something that I think probably a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with, that they don't like to admit when you're first starting out.
I fully agree and support with that. And you don't have to be an expert in everything.
Yes.
I feel like we have to be superwoman and be an expert in everything. And you don't have to be like, play your strengths, but it is important. Like you put in the work to learn.
Exactly.
Right. So you can't ignore it and be like, someone else is going to take care of it. And that's where like everything goes south when you're like just blindly trusting everything. You have to have enough knowledge that you can ask the right questions. That's all the advice that I always give to every female entrepreneur. Like, I'm so afraid of numbers. I'm so afraid of numbers. I was a finance major, by the way. And I'm like, well, you were like, no, you have to still be able to ask the right questions. That's all you need to know.
Just understand it. You don't have to be a CFO.
You don't have to be a CFO.
But take the time to learn, because I do think it's important to understand the business and like where you're at.
Yes.
And learn. I think that's the theme of this. Like, just learn.
Just keep learning, keep growing, and keep learning, keep growing, and keep drinking Poppi.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Allison, for being back on the show. We're super excited to do all the things always. And you are like, honestly, I want the audience to know she is just as beautiful on the inside as she is on the outside.
That's so sweet.
Pray for your success, for all of the most amazing things ahead in this journey. And I'm super excited. I can't wait to watch more Super Bowl commercials with Poppi.
I know. Who knows? It's coming.
We'll see you guys next time on CEO School. If you guys enjoyed today's episode with Allison, tag us. Give us a shout out on social. We'll be resharing. We love to hear from all of you. I would love for you guys to leave us a review on the show, share the show, and tag Poppi, tag Allison, and tag myself in CEO School. We'd love to hear your thoughts and all your biggest takeaways. We'll see you guys next time on CEO School. Thank you for tuning into today's show. If you loved it, leave us a review. We are so proud to bring you authentic conversations, game changer expert guests, and valuable content on and offline. The best compliment you can give us is by screenshotting today's show and tagging us on Instagram at CEO School and at Suneera Madani. We are obsessed with swag, so don't be surprised if we want to send you some. Thanks for tuning into class today, and remember, nothing bad happens when women make more money.